Hey, Vananga Vatulava. How are you? How are you? How are you? Welcome. Wena tubaniriza nnyo ku UNN TV online. Tubaniriza nnyo. Welcome. My name is Sophia Sebi, the host of the Revolutionary Spa. Leero tubaddemu a little bit different from this week. This week tetwasobodde kujja saasobodde kujja yesterday nga bwe kola parenting and all that sort of stuff. Nobeera nga you're running out of breath sort of thing. Kansubire mwenna, all out there parents, you understand where I'm coming from. But whatever the case, ngambye, I will not show up. No matter what, every week I have to show up. That is my motivation, my intention. I'm purposeful. Okubantino, I come every single week and be able to pass on some knowledge, be able to communicate with you. Mumanyentino, we're still on this revolutionary road. Whatever the case, whatever the situation, whatever the circumstances are, we're here. Sife tugamba ntumanyi buli kimu. We're not saying we know everything, but we're here. On top of that, we're volunteering and dedicating our time to be here. So namwe tubebaza abalaba, every single one of you who is on Twitter, who's on Facebook, who's on YouTube, our UNN radio, hopefully UNN Times again akuba ebaletera a lot of news and things that you can read upon, a lot of so if you need to, subscribe if you can, so that you're supporting the cause or supporting the revolutionary cause. Nenga bomanyi, this is Saturday, slightly different from when I am always online or on air. Friday, my usual time is Friday 6:30 p.m. or from 6:30 p.m. I'm here with you for about an hour and 15 minutes max. Mbasagala batwaira budde bwammwe, and I know all of you muli wano to maybe learn one thing or two, or support and give us encouragement. Of course, with tubalabako, you give us encouragement. Abaddamu videos, abaddamu lives. Namwe, we hope until mu finding useful the knowledge and information that you that we bring for you every day or every single week. So you're on the revolutionary spa. What does it mean, revolutionary spa? It means revolutionary self-purposeful action. I know it's not about politics all the time, and I'm not going to be talking about politics because we do have a lot of programs from Mulangira Chimbugwe, from Madame Liz, from Zanji, Desire and Gerald, from The Tower, from The Faith. All those shows on Nazireta, some form of politics. And yes, Nange, of course, I'll be discussing a few issues about politicians, but the main thing is about changing our mindset. So this show is about our mindset. Mwenambaniriza, greetings to you all. I hope you're all right. I hope you're having a good weekend, good evening, good morning, good night. You're Najemuli, diaspora, and home. Home, I mean Uganda. So today's show is about collectivism versus individualism. And of course, tumanyinti all the time, we're always talking about what is the best way to be purposeful. Even if we're talking about the self, what is the best way to be purposeful? Is it about or be intentional or take action or be successful in everything that we do? We're always having to wrestle with collectivism versus individualism. So today's episode 9 of our mindset series, is about collectivism versus individualism, exercising wisdom with knowledge. But before we get there, Njagala, first of all, to give some thanks and gratitude, prayer. Always the first thing I encourage every time you need to be grateful. We need to be grateful, more grateful than asking. So we are here for growth, we're here for evolution, and therefore it is important, very important, to acknowledge those we grow with. Every one of us is valuable. I extend my gratitude first to the Almighty for enabling us to come together in the first place. Special thanks, of course, to all those that came before us, our elders, present and past. Of course, without prejudice, I really thank my colleagues at UNN TV, known and unknown, but especially those giving your time without ceasing, especially behind the scenes teams. All UNNians for trusting and believing in UNN TV's vision. All those who continue to contribute to the Ugandan revolution, be it emotionally, practically, financially, or otherwise, thank you so much for all your support. And of course, all the supporters of fundamental and revolutionary change. So including every single one of those people I don't know, or those I may not, mention or necessarily, be involved with or be aware of, that you are all for change and playing your part. Remember, Ngabo Tugamba, our topic today is about in collectivism versus individualism. It is about the collective. It is about the collective, not about the me. So as we get into our topic, let's bring up our presentation. If we could start from our slide one. We start from our slide one, trying to go through the topic. This, I spend time preparing for you, and I'm hoping to it's useful and it's helpful when you see some visual what I'm talking about. To Shegera, our mindset series, welcome, gratitude, something new to learn. Those are the things of part of our introduction today. Naenga, I'm hoping to visuals, zibayamba, to just put two and two together in terms of the topic that I'm talking about. I rather not talk than have something that you can relate to. I'm hopeful it's useful. So thank you for all being online with UNN TV, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Mwenna tubaniriza abali ku radio. If there's, I don't think we're airing today, but if we are airing on radio, I thank you all for the good listeners. So please, hopefully we'll be together for about an hour and 15 minutes, and then I will say goodbye and have a very good weekend. Now, first of all, yes, as we go through our presentation today, if we move on to our second slide, to move moving it on to a second slide, it's all about what is going on in the world as well today. I'm always going to be trying to bring maybe a new thing or phenomenal weird thing that I have heard or found throughout the week as I do research. And I'm hoping it will be interesting for you too, Okulaba, to see what's going on in the world. And some things need to, you need to connect dots. One of UNN, we connect dots. We do research. We do back up evidence on what we're saying, on what we're talking about. So just so we go into our show today, like I was saying, remember it is about the collective, not about the me. It's not about you receiving all the time. It's about you building your neighbor, building your family or a friend, or a stranger. Because I think sometimes it's very difficult, maybe okuyamba strangers, because we're always going to the most easiest person who's next to us, who's sitting or standing next to us. But so every time you think about how I can get from here, ask yourself, how can I add value to others? Also remember that every time that you want to be a consumer, you're always buying, than a producer, you need to be the one producing goods out. Be ready to be given or to receive what you are given. Don't complain about consuming something bad. How about thinking about you producing what exactly you would like to have? So you cannot be surprised about the quality of service or product if you are not willing to get your hands dirty, right? So let's start producing. If we are to have a chance at living, let's start producing. Let's stop being consumers. Culture for Java, it's about buying. You want to buy the latest TV, the latest shoe, the latest sofa, the latest car. Let's stop to do that. If I could ask the our producer to please just for a second take me off air and just leave the presentation in full, that would be really helpful. Just for a few seconds, please. Okay. Um, hello, welcome back. Vane Munsoni wa Mkatono, that was a little emergency. Nenga, welcome back. And yes, habari gani, Mbaul. I can see Susan Nakabugo. Habari muzuri. I'm not well versed with Swahili. Nae, I can greet at least. Nae, everyone, abali yo, greetings. So, ngatuda topic ya fair today is about collectivism versus individualism. It's all about our mindset, our self-purposeful action. Ngabwe tugamba nti tuino kwe we need to change ourselves, revolutionize how we think, how we behave, or what to end up having a chance at living in the, changed Uganda. Otherwise, we are wasting our time. So let's start producing. Ngabwe ngamba nti, in order for us to have that mindset of collectivism, which is part of revolutionizing ourselves, Muchfocho close about me, what can I get from whatever I am being given, or what can I get from, for instance, Bogamancho Jack UNN, you're thinking, what are you bringing UNN? But no, you first ask yourself, what are you bringing to the table? Are you in some form of discussions? Are you practically helping, sharing the message? Are you financially like subscribing to support the cause? Or are you wanting to receive all the time? Remember, what you give to life comes back to you. It's what you give into life comes back to you. I come on here not because I get paid, not because I want money, because I know that giving back to my community, I will receive so much more. So sometimes some of us, we wonder why we're not having the things that we are asking for in prayer. We wonder why we're not receiving the things we're asking for in prayer. twewuunya lwaki tetufuna bintu bye tusaba mu ssaala zaffe. Bw'oba toyina ky'ozzaayo mu nsi ate ggwe lwaki olowooza ogenda kufuna n'essaala zaffe Katonda taziwulira, kubanga all the time tuli kusaba, olowooza kufuna naye ggwe keerako olumu ogambe ngenda kuyamba ntya community yange, family yange, bakwano bange oba mukwano gwange. What am I going to do to put back? It's not about receiving all the time. When you give, you get multiple. But I think my observation is that, the way we have sort of grown up, in our community, in our culture, is about receiving. For instance, abantu oyinza okuba oyina abantu be Uganda nga maybe Muganda oba mama oba auntie oba whoever nga gw'oli eno mu diaspora, but that person will never say oli otya oba nkuyambe mu ki. N'ebintu tebyetaaga ssente all the time. This is the mindset we need to come away from. It's not about the physical money. Ebintu tebyetaaga ssente most of the time. It just needs our relationships. Our relationships, we're too relating to each other. It just needs us kugamba, I am willing to serve you in this way, and that person will not say no to serving you in return. Tuyina kweyamba, laba chains zino nga bwezigenda. If it's a chain reaction, to be of service, sigamba nti nogenda kukwegamba, you give and give and give whatever you need to give. It's not about money. It's about all the other things that are unseen. Is it about prayer? Is it about, helping, someone maybe with their children? Or is it about ogenda kuyamba omuntu omutwalire, ku kamera omanyi neighbor omulwadde? Why can't you do something for the other? Oba nokola naye nga toyina ku expecting anything back all the time. I can say this kubanga nze, I try to help as much as possible. I'll be maybe a listener, maybe listening. What I'm doing here on UNN, I am doing just that. I am doing something of service to you. I find into this information I research, I know about, has been useful to me. So I am giving back. I'm trying to serve. So it's not about the money. It's not about only tangible. It can be intangible. Ebintu bye tulabako byokka, it should not be the only way that we serve others. So what I'm trying to say in conclusion to this particular thing is that as you sit on UNN and enjoy the programs brought to you daily, ask yourself, what have I contributed to the cause? If not, how am I going to contribute? Is it going to be sharing information, the page, so that others can be, they can learn about what we're saying? Is it about monetary? Am I going to subscribe? Is it practical? Am I going to try and, help one person or two, maybe creating a poster? Is it through knowledge? It's that sharing of, the things that we know about or we come to know about. Share with your family, share with your friends, share with your, your friends' network, in your Facebook group, in your Twitter, in your whatever. Remember, revolution is to transform. We need to transform ourselves from the old. To do away with the old, we need to get rid of the old self. We need to get away from the old self and come into the new. Completely remove ourselves from the old. That is revolution, to transform, to transfigure, to rebrand, to reinvent. We cannot be doing exactly the same things, thinking we're going to get the same results. It is not going to happen. So, brothers and sisters, all of you, I'm speaking in English intentionally because I want every single person who comes to UNN or who comes on this program to understand, the Northerners to understand, the Easterners to understand, the Westerners to understand what is it that I'm saying. It's about revolution. It's transforming ourselves from the old. We do away with the old into the new. And that is about you as a person. When you change, your community change, the people you hang around with change, the things that you go to seek out on YouTube or on Facebook, on social media platforms, they change. You are no longer going to be in gossip. You'll be in something that is building you, conversations that are building you. So, ngawa tulaba wano ku screen, I've brought you this picture of Biden, Joe Biden, who is the president of US, as you all know. There's something new I've been hearing about in the news and on social media platforms about the issue regarding the US president saying that he has pledged money to be spent on buying crack pipes in the sum of 3 billion. This is crack pipes, zili, like drug paraphernalia, the drug paraphernalia, like as in, cocaine, crack pipe. Naye, so everyone has been talking about in social media, on social media and on news, they've been talking about the reasons why these are being, why the big funding, why 3 billion buying um, put into the drug users. The reason why do I bring this story? I'm bringing this story to look at our situation in Uganda of endless poverty. And mostly we rely on handouts, charity, whilst our riches, like raw materials, in the form of minerals, are being used to build other economies. So other economies are building on our backs, on our raw materials, to be able to have the 3 billion, for instance, to give, to afford to put that amount of money onto crack pipes. If it is true, because I have had the White House coming out to say, no, 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 it's not true. That's not how he said it. That's not what he meant. The 3 billion to go on crack pipes. It should be, they've come out to say that. And that's the post that you have right in front of you. However, I'm saying that if you think about it, we are in endless poverty. Um, there's people all over the world, I suppose, maybe even in Uganda, going hungry. But there's so much of these big budgets you hear about 3 billion going into buying of crack pipes. Now, don't get me wrong, because I am for prevention than cure. But then this might be something to do, there's ethical things to do, about the, if this is the reason, if this is the reason, is it about encouraging people to continue to wallow in hopelessness? Because if you're a drug addict, of course, you're going to be wallowing in hopelessness, because it's a cycle, it's a psychological war, spiritual, psychological warfare that you have. It's never ending. So if you can easily access crack pipes, what does that say about our societies? Anyway, I'll leave that for you to ponder and think about. What do you think? Put it in comments and tell me what you think about, this sort of I don't know, it's twisted. It's sort of a phenomenon, maybe it's twisted. How inequality can really of this world, the inequalities that we have of this world, where you have one economy, one country saying they're putting 3 billion, and then you have the far end one saying that actually no, we don't have enough resources, we don't have enough food, we don't, but we are the richest continent with our raw materials, which are we're being consumers. We consume the pharmaceutical drugs, we consume the clothes, we don't make anything of our own, but we consume. But we have raw materials. We don't make jewelry, we don't make things like, where is it? It's all going where is it all going? How is that? It is a frustrating situation. Frustrating in a way that whilst in Uganda we don't have oxygen cylinders, adequate medical facilities or healthcare system fit for purpose, not even dogs can be treated in our hospitals. You only have to look at the dog hospitals or sanctuaries that you find in the diaspora if you've traveled. So isn't that real? Like a phenomenal weird? Anyway, as we move on, like I say, we must go together. We must go together. Collectivism, not individualism. So as we play, I want us to play one video. I want us to go over one video and see this, if this is indeed collectivism or individualism. As we wait for it to play, like I was saying, is collectivism, not individualism. What do you think? Because we are on our own.
On the road to success, there is always we, not me. Do not think that you alone can achieve things. No. There is always another person who is standing behind you, maybe not coming on the forefront, but behind you, praying for you and supporting you. Never lose that person. Never.
Very short video. Now, it's quite impactful. And I bring, these different people. I'm not necessarily bringing from our communities. Now I'm bringing from different, influencers, I suppose, if you want to call it that, so that we can learn something from others. It's not about learning from ourselves. After all, learning from ourselves is almost like we're repeating the same thing, going around the hamster wheel, and we cannot come off the hamster wheel. What is it going to take for us as people, a community, to break free from that wheel, to see things completely differently? No corruption, to care for our neighbor, to care for our things. We are on our own. So whilst US is investing in 3 billion for drug users, buying drug paraphernalia that can help them continue their habit, we must learn to look after our own. This is something that I quote. I came up, you can quote me if you want. Otherwise, it's not necessarily absolute, or you don't have to. We must learn to look after our own before we think of others coming to help our own. If we don't look after ourselves, someone else will. What do I mean by looking after ourselves? We must look after ourselves, because what is going to happen, you're going to have the colonial master come back to look after us in a way that they so desire, or they're already there anyway, in a way that they so desire. So we need to be changing our mindset individually so that we can connect the whole. It's from small pieces individually. Nothing for us without us. We cannot say we are saying we want change if we're not involved in that change. Someone else is going to give us their own idea of the change they want us to have. So the moral of the story, of the Biden story and What I'm saying is that life is not fair. It is not. We must deal with it. We are on our own as we seek justice. We are on our own as we seek justice. Fairness and equality, we are on our own. We can no longer ask for it, but we need to take it. So every time we think of crying out to outside forces, the colonialists or politicians, we must think again. We must think again. The system doesn't care about us. The system is there to suffocate. It's there to frustrate, to kill our spirit, and reduce us to nothingness until we are begging for mercy from the oppressor. With phrases like, for instance, if we go with phrases like mutuyambe, muje mutuyambe, who? The system wants to enslave, beg for help, wants us to be enslaved. To beg for help, which usually comes in the form of charity of the rescuer. You know that story about the knight in shining armor riding on a horse. We're thinking this is going to be the case, like a Mary, we thought it was the knight in shining armor riding on a horse coming to save the princess from the bandits, or a child crying for its parent having woken up from a bad dream, claiming to have seen a boogeyman under the bed. In reality, we all know there is no knight coming to save the princess. And there is no boogeyman under the bed. So these are all made up stories to confuse our realities. Our reality is there is no one coming to save us. We need to find some form of, I don't know, as we've been talking about the spiritual warfare, we need to find every single bit of energy within ourselves, our souls, to rise up. We have been lied to for so long, and therefore have made this concept our reality. And a concept, boogeyman under the bed, this one is coming. There's no boogeyman under the bed. This knight in shining armor, someone is coming to rescue us from outside of ourselves. Now, nothing is going to happen of that sort. It's not going to be like that. We have been brainwashed for so long that anyone who comes with new information that shakes up on formed reality, our formed reality, based on illusion made up by the powers that be through long-standing programming, the programming, your TV you're watching, the internet that you see, everything, the people that you listen to, programming for so long goes into your subconscious mind. We call them crazy. If anyone comes to tell us different, like UNN, coming to say something different, a different idea of what you thought you knew was real, we turn that upside down. Everyone will call us crazy or spies. I accept the truth hurts. I accept that. And it is a bitter pill to swallow. I accept that. I agree that it is unthinkable to believe that we grew up taking what we grew up taking as our truth, what we really knew as our truth, is actually based on lies due to intentional programming through social media, through television, through propaganda that is unreal. And therefore, being asked to rethink, anyone that asks us to rethink of how we live our lives, it is not okay to just sell off all your businesses and buy a ticket and pay off someone, an agent, and go to the Arab world to tell you that that's where you can make money. You can make money from anything, from anywhere you are. You need to start with what you have instead of selling off what you have. For instance, someone contacted me. I'm here, I need help. I'm stuck. I'm stuck in the Arab world. I'm stuck. What happened? And I'm thinking, okay, what happened? What did you do? How did you get there? Why are you here? Or someone took me, the agents took me, and I am here. I had to pay off at least over 7 million. Imagine 7 million shillings has been paid to some agent to go abroad. But what about using that 7 million to start up a little, maybe chickens, buy some chickens? I'm sure somewhere away from the city, but because we are so programmed to want the things that glitter, things like we think gold, the streets are made of gold where we are going. Anything that you see on social media, maybe your friends are showing up on social media with, in different locations. We think that is real, but that is not the real world. We really need to rethink. Okay, you can tell me I am here in UK, that's why I'm talking like this. No, I'm not talking like this because of that. I am not the one going to, selling off my stuff, going to the Arab world. I'm not selling my land to go to the Arab world. I'm not selling my business to go to the Arab world. I'm only saying I'm only offering another way to look at life. We cannot look at life the same linear way we've been looking at life, that it's all about going somewhere else to find the best idea of life. That is unreal. So when we come here and talk about things and turn your life upside down, you're thinking a bit upside down of what you thought you knew. It is too much to bear. I know, yes, some people have been bruised, egos have been bruised. I get it. Why do we need to rethink our lives? Because we are creatures of habit. So every time you do the same thing, not even knowing, you're on autopilot, doing the same thing. You drink from the same cup, you get on the same bus, how about shaking it all up that you don't have to be all the time in that same cycle? Because we are fearful of the unknown. Because we must find new ways of living other than that which we have been accustomed to all our lives. That is about revolution, transformation. We transfigure from old to new, get rid of the old and in the new. Okay, I want us to see this this other video. I'm hoping that you'll be able to again learn one thing or two. I bring these examples not because it's something that I don't feel happy seeing others suffer, but it's something that we can learn from. Okay, whilst we wait for the video to come.
Anybody involved in the cameras, we shall just grab it. To get. We don't want phones here. Take out the
Here, kansubire kavidi yako mukalabye, and Mark, I'm sure it's been going around. I believe it's been going around social media. But when you see this video, what is it? This scenario, what do you think? Disrespect, hopelessness, beggars, slaves, enslaved, and someone has the audacity to say, do not film, because, but look at how someone is handling that woman, the mother of, you know, human life. So is that what, if, I mean, we're probably sitting here thinking it would never happen to me, but the way we're going, maybe this might go on the increase. Look at how a woman has been bundled into this van. What exactly did they do? Who did they kill? We need to think a little bit beyond what we see. We need to really connect dots. We need to be able to say, no one is going to save us. We're on our own. To accept that fact. Not even the fact, to accept the truth. That is the truth, because there's a difference between truth and fact. We need to accept that truth. Nothing is for us without us. Our children and our children's children will probably continue to suffer the same fate if we do not change our mindset. Everything starts from our mindset. For you to act, you must have had a thought first. Then you either write it down or you put it into action. Things that we have become, thoughts. The thoughts we have become things. How do they become things? Because someone thinks an idea and puts the idea into action, either on paper, in books, or speaks it, or makes something like a cup, like a sofa. The things that we want, a house, it becomes an idea first. You first of all organize everything in your head how you want it, and then you say to someone or builder, I would like the house looking like this and that and that. But you built it. It became first. We always create things first, in the unseen, in the spirit, before they become physical. So all this that's going on around us, all the drones, all the, these people that are acting this way, they have had ideas in their head. They have had this for so long. Just like Mulangira said yesterday, ideas have been building up for so long. Imagine from birth, probably. When someone has an idea for their son, for their child, to be what they want them to be, and they will steer them in the direction that they want them to be, for that idea to come to fruition. Let's move on. I'm looking at the time. We move on, but I am hoping that you understand what is it exactly that I'm saying to you. I'm hoping it's sort of being taken in, It's almost this idea of a man who continues. There's this quote that says, a man who continues to live in denial, even after knowing the truth, is as good as dead. A man who continues to live in denial, even after knowing the truth, is as good as dead. So which category are you? Because, you don't have to be in a casket and 6 feet under to be dead. You don't have to be, you can be living, walking, and you're dead, because you're not adding value. You're just living. And you're simply consuming and consuming, not being a producer of an idea, producer of knowledge, a producer of things like maybe contributing to your family. You can be a producer where you are the one producing for your family. You don't have to be a consumer. We need to get away from the thing of we need to go to the shop to buy, the supermarket. This is the life that the system wants us to be in. You know why? Because this system helps to be enslaved. It helps because you are enslaved. You don't own anything. You are enslaved by being a consumer. You trade your time for money. We're all in similar situations. We are trading our time for money. And that system is not good because it enslaves us to things. That system helps us to be consumers. You're too tired to think because you've traded your time, your energy to an organization. So imagine we all had maybe our little land, you're self-sufficient, you have a farm, you have some chickens, you have some, animals, you have some, you're growing your own vegetables. Imagine living a simple life. Would you need to be in work, trading your time for money? Would you? Maybe it's about time we evaluate our values, what is important for us in life. So look at ourselves in the mirror. We need to look really honestly and question whether we are happy with the way life is right now. You need to question, are you happy with your life right now? Are you genuinely okay with how things are going right now? You go wake up 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning, you go, clock in, clock out, clock in, clock out, because, or sometimes some people work on the clock. Like the house managers, I'm sure you do work along, your long hours. But yet what comes out is just the money, and you're thinking this money is going to solve all my problems, but unfortunately doesn't solve all the problems. Are you genuinely okay with how things are going in your life or wherever country you are right now? Is your life the same or closer to as those you are fighting for? Some of the people that we're fighting for. Ask yourself, is it worth winning an argument than accepting truth? These are all things that we need to be asking ourselves to reevaluate what is it, what are our values, what are our core values that we need to have in order to completely do away with the old and get into the new. Ask yourself, is it my ego that drives me to the nonsensical thinking, the behavior, or is it out of ignorance? Whose battle are you fighting? Or am I fighting? Yours, your family's, your mother, your father, community, or mere mortals, the so-called politicians? Ask yourself, is it because of my pure greed and material gain? What you do with the information or knowledge you gain, you take a leaf, that information, what do you do with it? If we could take a leaf from, reading the Bible and understanding it, or the Quran and understanding it, we would exactly know how we need to transform the knowledge we have into action. Therefore, we have wisdom. The reason why I bring about the Bible, the Quran, is because the way we are in Uganda, we are at least one of, we are at least, one of the many countries in the world that have almost all the religions in the world. So let's attempt to understand and use wisdom. The information that we get from UNN or from all the other platforms or any books that you're reading, are you putting it in action, or you're just reading and leaving it right there? Revolution, we've been talking about revolution all this time. Revolution, does it mean really? What does revolution mean? Because it's not about how do I sell off my stuff, my land, whatever, and go somewhere else. We need to try and find whatever solution we can in the circumstances that we are in. But first, we must understand there's a difference between wisdom and revolution and knowledge. What is wisdom? When we go, what is wisdom? If we're to understand wisdom as we go, we keep going along through to our next slide. Wisdom, it has different meanings. You have biblical meaning and you have philosophical meaning. But in the biblical wisdom, Proverbs is one of the books that can really give you some insight into the biblical meaning of wisdom. So it's the ability to appreciate and recognize the truth, the ability to choose best action despite the circumstances. As we move along, this is just an example of showing you how individualistic and collectivism, there is nothing that works missing one puzzle. All pieces come together to form a beautiful picture. And we should take ourselves as those precious pieces, the value. We are the value. We are the brand to make up a collective. But let's move on. As we move on, we continue to move on, just listening. Like I'm saying, like I've said many times, a man is as good as, continues to live in denial even after knowing the truth, is as good as dead. We move on to about wisdom. I want us to understand a little bit about the difference between wisdom and knowledge. Wisdom, we have biblical, and I've referred you to Proverbs where you can read in your own time, even if you're not Christian or you're not of the, taking the Bible as your book for reference. It's important we read different things so that we can understand the perspectives of different people. We also have, there's a one particular quote from the Bible that I particularly, really liked. It says, listen to your father's instruction, not to reject your mother's teaching. It is a crown of grace for your head, a circlet for your neck, like a necklace, almost a crown for your head, when you listen to your mother's teaching and the instruction your father gives you. Father gives you knowledge for you to be able to get the wisdom from your mother. It gives you knowledge that your mother has the wisdom. I'm not going to go into different, how to translate the Bible and so on and so forth, because I'm not a pastor or anything like that. But my understanding is that these books that we so say, we revere in, we almost, swear by them. We need to understand them. What point of reference do we, if you're saying you're Muslim, what does the Quran say about having wisdom, knowledge? What do you need to do with that information? You need to have the ability to choose the best action despite the circumstances. Anyways, we move on with wisdom. We have no fear of sudden terror. For instance, the situation that we have. With wisdom, we have no fear of sudden terror or of attack caused by wicked men. Just have to see the video. What stopped anyone from coming to intervene and say, instead of filming, we need to be taking action to say, you're not taking this woman anywhere. We need to stand up for thy neighbor, to stand up for each other. What Proverbs say is that, in chapter 1, verse 24, it says, with wisdom, no fear of sudden terror or of attack mounted meaning caused by wicked men. since God will be our guarantor. So if we're saying we are of believers of the Quran, of the Bible, why are we not taking these words seriously? It's all lip service. That's all we have. So we need to reevaluate what is our belief system. So this woman taken in broad daylight whilst we look on and film. What does that say about us? Proverbs it can go on and on, but Proverbs is about kindness to others. Proverbs 1:27-28. We need to be kind to each other, and that's part of rescue, stepping in, standing up, against injustices. So we need to ask ourselves, what is our conduct? How can we learn from this? How can we say we believe and yet our actions say otherwise? I am not saying I'm righteous by any means. I am not righteous, not at all. All I'm saying is that there is too much fear, corruption, bias, deceit among us, our communities, our country, that we cannot expect to reap what we did not sow. Proverbs, another example of some lesson, Proverbs 20, chapter 15, it says, there are gold and jewels of every type, but priceless ornament is the speech which is informed by knowledge. So when do we speak? We speak just like that, but we utter any words without knowledge, which again we've seen so many times. We speak and want to give we want to give an opinion on everything. You have no knowledge, but you want to give an opinion. This sort of urgency where we do not exercise wisdom is the urgency, rush decisions. We testify to the word of God. Why then do not read the Bible, the Quran in its entirety? Why do we pick up these small, sort of things that go with, we manipulate the verses or whatever it is to suit our agendas? What can we learn from this, from us being able to take some understanding, If we move on to our next slide, is that we need to take a leaf from everything. If you're saying you're Christian, like I was saying, there's two biblical meaning and there's philosophical. Philosophical is that wisdom is about the right use. Wisdom is the right use or exercise of knowledge. Knowledge is knowing what to say. Wisdom is knowing when to say it. Yeah, we keep moving on to our next slides. Wisdom is not a product of schooling. So all those PhDs, masters, whatever you call them, they are useless unless you know how to use them. Wisdom is not a product of schooling. To have wisdom, you do not have to have gone to school, but of the lifelong attempt to acquire it. This is Einstein saying. Okay, we move on. Knowledge is power, but only wisdom is liberty. So we can have all the knowledge we need, but how do we apply that knowledge? Through wisdom, we apply the knowledge. And through applying the knowledge, we have liberty. Liberty is freedom. Freedom to express, freedom to live in our own country, freedom, We continue to move on. All those things are, really important. So if we go, whilst we're talking about this, what sort of lessons, when we think about UFCC, for instance, we need to wait for it to come to maturity. We need to do that through education to ensure we have sufficient advice, information, and knowledge to press forward rather than rushed. I know Abantu Singer, you ask, where is UFCC, where is this, where is that? But we need to be able to understand what is it that we're doing. Being rushed, just like, for instance, when we consider the pre-election campaign, the hype, Jitwalim, we followed blindly, no manifesto, no focus, no direction. We lacked knowledge. So we were just, hence we ended up where we are, in hopelessness, in sort of, emotionally drained, because there was no strategy on how we're going to revolutionize our country. As I conclude, if we have a chance at forming a changed Uganda, a revolutionary Uganda, meaning revolutionary selves, us, we need to change ourselves completely and also turn upside down the way we do things. We must live our lives radically, completely turn our lives upside down as we start to form or unprogram ourselves and families and children from the system which has chained our mindsets and has held us hostage, thinking the same way, thinking that we must sell off our things, our properties, our wealth. The most wealthy thing is land. Sell off to go to pastures new, because the streets are made of gold. We must be willing to give us a chance by the willingness to give up or shut down the system, to reset for a restart. We would have to be willing to redefine, rename, rebrand our lives if we are to enjoy the freedom to live the lives we desire and were created for, the lives that we were created for by the Almighty, of collectiveness, of love, caring for thy neighbor, letting nature take its course, to live a fulfilling and abundant life in our motherland. Just look closer to home. We had on our programs this week on this and that and Get Off the Hook and about the lavish lifestyle or selfishness of Uganda's politicians, where they believe it's okay to ride in cars worth billions of shillings, whilst the mother on the market stall spends over 12 hours or more frying in the scorching sun, grinding for her children to get the basics. Even then, it is not enough. That mother, after 12 hours, not enough to feed the family for more than a couple of days. That is not okay. That it is not okay for these politicians to take a humongous salary whilst the country's healthcare system is on its knees and economy, and even their big salary cannot afford them the quality of care. Imagine. They themselves deserve, and they must yet more put more dent or erosion into our system by taking the funds to someone other economy. So making US happy or more richer from spending this money, or other countries. We don't have, it's almost like there's this non-existent bank balance of Uganda, because which means that, the collapsing economy, because we're not producers. We are being consumers. We're consumers of work. We're consumers of hours of work in factories, in Arab homes, in European countries. We are consumers of time. We are working. I'm here working. I'm giving time to the Queen. We're here to greener pastures for medical, but the politicians are happy to pay billions to seek medical attention elsewhere, not put that money back in the system. Shame upon you. Shame upon you. So next time you start disagreeing with others, being in defense mode, or being abusive to those who choose to bring you sound and well-researched knowledge, Take inventory and exercise wisdom. We are not interested about your comfort zone or ego or what you thought was real getting bruised. We are not. We ask that you bring an alternative perspective with your own knowledge, information that differs from what we're saying constructively and using emotional intelligence. If you do not want to hear that which you are hearing, but lack a differing perspective, then we ask you bring your unknowing to knowing. We understand here that rattling your feathers can be challenging. We do understand. We were there post-election, because we ourselves had to process the information we were hearing on UNN as we went through, or Chimbugwe Live, as we went through the cycle of change many months before we were there. So I urge you to research what the cycle of change means. Cycle of change, which is a psychological perspective. It will show you the stages which you have to go through to change your habits, your behavior. We also understand that your anger may only reflect ignorance, disappointment, feeling abandoned or broken by those you've trusted for so long, the politicians, the person, not the idea. And that accepting a different perspective is devastating. Yes, we know. Oh, it bruised your ego. I get it. I get it. I get it. I therefore want to challenge you to give yourself a chance at an opportunity and possibility of living a life of freedom. Let us live a life of freedom. This revolutionary agenda is not for us. I mean us as in us who are on UNN or UNNians alone, but yourself. It is for your family and your children and their future children too. We need to have different perspectives of how life must go on. We are going to just watch one last short video quickly, and it's telling different perspectives of the different revolutions. Revolution doesn't necessarily mean physical. It can mean social, economic, and political. So I just want you to find out which one are you, listen carefully, which one are you going to be? Yeah, as we wait for that to come, which one are you going to be?
The bigger challenge for us is how do you retain people? Because many a times the freshers, when they come in, within 6 months, 1 year after you train, they leave.
Yeah.
So that has been a big challenge, which we are still trying to address. We are thinking of looking at some kind of a retainership, at least 3 years.
Won't work.
Huh?
Won't work.
I don't know. So I'm just
saving you time.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So that's why I was just trying to figure out how do we do this.
So I want you to understand this. The world of business has seen 3 generations: the industrial revolution, the information revolution, and now we are in this revolution called the social revolution. Industrial revolution, people took a job for survival. They wanted basic necessity of roti, kapda, makan. So they went in and they worked in a workplace, and they didn't leave that workplace even if the boss was abusive, and even if the boss would physically beat them up, people would not leave. That was the era of boss is always right.
Yeah.
Because opportunities were less.
Yeah.
That is pretty much the grandparents of today's workforce. Then came the information revolution, where all these IT companies, brands started building, and the workforce then came to work not for survival because their parents took care of survival. This workforce went to work for standard of living. Basically get a good enough salary to pay the house EMI, the car EMI, children's education loan. Pretty much your generation. You went to work for that, for standard of living.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now in this generation, loyalty reduced. Now the truth is that loyalty never existed in the first place. Loyalty didn't exist. There was no option. This generation, information revolution, got option. If they got a better quality of workplace and they got a better pay, then people would jump a job, right? Now this was the information revolution. Then came the third revolution. After 2008's recession, information revolution died. Today, information is available for free. You can learn coding on YouTube. You don't have to, it's no longer a hidden knowledge. So, you need to understand, now we live in a digital revolution or a social revolution where everything is social, which means today's workforce, they don't care about survival. Their grandparents took care of that. They don't care about standard of living. Their parents took care of that. Even the labor does not care about standard of living anymore, because even labor has Dish TV and Tata Sky in their house. So if you'll say, I'll cut your pay, or if you'll say, I'll bind you with a contract, they will say, thank you so much, I'm finding another job. Today's workforce needs something else. They want quality of life, not standard of life. Standard of life, parents took care. Today's workforce is thinking quality of life, which means quality of workplace, which means quality of job, quality of environment, quality of role, opportunity, learning and rewards, all of that. Unless you don't have a mechanism for that, you will always grapple with this retention challenge.
So we thank Rajiv for that. I am bringing this not because I want you to necessarily follow the person. I'm not affiliated to this person at all. I'd only bring you this perspective or this sort of argument to see the difference between, the revolution. It's not only about political. We cannot only say we want to change the leaders, but if us ourselves, have not changed and still have the same mentality that it's about selling off our land and going to pastures new, this is going to be where the opportunity for the junta to come in and take over. Of course, they've already done that, but the little that is left, don't sell it off to go to pastures new. I am asking, rethink your life. The revolution we're in, it's about information can come to you via social media. And wherever you are, if you have a phone, which we know that in Uganda, at least most of us have phones, have computers, have whatever, there's internet cafes. From what you have, make the most of what you have. We might not all have exactly the same things, and that's not going to happen. Because most of you, you might argue what you're over there, you're talking common ground. I'm not goddamn coming on ground. All I'm saying is that this is my life right now. I cannot change it right now, and I'm building towards changing it. All I'm saying is that think again. Before you give 6-7 million to an agent to take you to the Arab world, think again, what can you do with the 7 million that you have right now? So I'm not saying this to offend anyone, but I'm saying that you can have a different perspective. Look at different perspectives. They are if other people can survive where they are in Uganda, we have 45 million. Why can't you? You don't have to go to pastures new, because not all that glitters is gold. As I conclude, I give thanks to the Almighty for wisdom and the will to act wisely. Remember, knowledge is not power, but applied knowledge is power. Wisdom is knowing when to apply that knowledge. Miracles are within us every day, so be kind. And they're not from above. Miracles are within all of us. This is where God is. Angels are among us. Let us be angels among each other. Be kind, be positive role models, cautious, mindful of what and how we apply knowledge with wisdom. I am your host, Sophia Sebi. This is Revolutionary S.P.A, Self-Purposeful Action. Revolutionary Self-Purposeful Action. Thank you so much. Mwebale mwena mwebale. Mwebale munongo okubaha. Mwebale nyokubeerawo. I greet maybe my Nubian sisters and brothers Kabara soon. That's all I can, even if I'm one. But thank you so much. Thank you very much. Mwena sigenda kumenya manya. But all of you that have been tuned in to UNN TV, you're on Revolutionary S.P.A with Sophia Sebi, your host. Bye. Good evening. Good morning. Ciao. Adios.